I'll give it another couple of seconds and then I will start. Good. I think people still coming in. But I would say it's now good 2 minutes past. Let's probably start. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone in the audience that has joined us to this webinar. Thanks also a lot to the Reuters organization to organize this. Also, thanks to the panelists that joined me today here in this webinar. Just a short introduction. My name is Dirk Ilius from the Cognizant CRM practice. I'm going to be your host and moderator for the next hour for this webinar. And yes, welcome everyone. Across life science, companies face the same three North Star goals today. Efficiency, where we're doing more with less in commercial, medical, and patient access functions. Targeting precision, where personalizing HCP and patient engagements while staying compliant is at the top. Time to value, accelerating your launches, reducing system complexity, and scaling globally. Technology is the enabler, but the real story is how organizations prepare the platform modernization and AI adoption as the next growth lever. I'm joined here by three leaders: Sweta Kopra, Director Commercial Information Technology and Adoption, Business Partners AstraZeneca, who has just chosen Salesforce Life Science Cloud, but you're not yet launched and started the program. And Nivi Mughali, Director Enterprise Omnichannel Analytics Capabilities at GSK, who's much further along the journey. And finally, Robert Martinovich, Head of Global IT Digital Enablement at Teva, who are in their final phase of assessment, evaluating and selection, and plan to decide in early Q1 2026. This is a unique moment. All three organizations are in their future CRM journey, but with very different vantage points. But before we start, one last note. All opinions shared are personal and do not necessarily represent the company's point of views. Nivi, you have started your platform switch already. How did you prepare for this program? What were critical points you looked for?
Thank you, Dirk. Thank you for having me. Hey, everyone. I'm Nivi Mughali, Director of Enterprise Omnichannel Analytics at GSK. I think when we talk about CRM in pharma and across industries too, we're not just talking about one tool that we are thinking about, right? We're thinking about several different aspects in that we're trying to see if it can be the operational backbone of all of our processes, workflows, mainly customer engagement, and of course, how do we impact patient outcomes from there? And I think some of the key decisions that we were going through and that we were thinking through is how can this CRM unify everything that we're doing? Can it be that one place from which we can execute on further strategies? Of course, while thinking like from a future capability standpoint, is it flexible enough, scalable enough? Obviously thinking about how it can gel with the existing systems and analytical engines and processes in place, because when you're thinking of building and scaling the CRM out, you don't necessarily want to replace the entire ecosystem around it. You want to see if it can mesh within your existing framework. And so in terms of that, that was definitely a key consideration. And then also about how can we drive better engagement from a customer relationship standpoint? How can we make it easier for our field force when they're going out there and talking to our customers? So those are some of the key considerations.
I think you're on mute, Dirk.
Hi, Sweta. Uh, AstraZeneca has just announced to move forward with Salesforce. What outcomes are you targeting with the selection?
Thank you, Dirk. So, hi everyone. I'm Shweta Chopra. I am Director of Adoption and Change Management at AstraZeneca in commercial IT. So, our decision was basically anchored on intelligent engagement, much like what Nivi said, right? I mean, we want to redefine how we engage with our customers and obviously support our business growth. We wanted to, a system that supports where we want to be as a company. So we selected the Salesforce platform to consolidate our HCP insights across medical and commercial to enable personalized engagement because how we engage with our HCPs has changed over the years. I mean, it's no longer what it used to be. It's new, it's changing every single day, right? Plus our environment. I mean, it's omni-channel, right? So it has to support the omni-channel, next best action, best day, best time, supporting the reps, supporting our omni-channel engagement, supporting our non-personal promotion, everything together, right? So a platform that will do all of that, give one single point of one single profile for our HCP across all bands. And then obviously AI, right? We're rapidly moving with AI, whether or not, it's coming in multiple formats, whether we're ready for it or not. So it really is something that we are looking to harness to support coordinated actions across brands, completely with human oversight, cannot do anything without that. And so these pillars actually ensure that we modernize very responsibly and keep improving our precision, productivity, and most importantly, our time to value.
Robert, you're still in the evaluation. Considering that Teva might be also slightly different in its business model, how did Teva approach the assessment and where were your priorities?
Yeah, thank you, Dirk. Thank you for having me. Happy to talk about this topic that I feel like I've been talking for the last 2 years. Yeah, Teva is definitely a different pharma player. Although we are, transforming ourselves to become a player, a key player in the branded industry, we still are the largest generics company in the world. We are the second largest biosimilars company in the world, and we operate in a lot of markets. So we are very different. We've got very different needs. We take orders directly in our CRM today that our generics and OTC reps do. We also promote products like traditional big pharma. We also grew up very inorganically through a lot of acquisitions, and we did acquire a lot of technical debt. At one point in time, we had 29 unique Veeva CRM orgs. We've scaled that down, but we are looking to, as the company is transforming, we're really also looking to transform our tech stack. We want to really focus now on maybe more of a regional hub model. But we also need to ensure that we can still meet all of the different unique business needs that we have. Like I mentioned earlier, generics, biosimilars, branded specialty drugs, they're all different. So we're looking for a versatile solution that can meet all of those needs. But like what my other panelists have said, we're also not looking just to replace a CRM. We have a very rich omni-channel ecosystem. Today, Veeva is at the heart of that omni-channel operation. It's connected to everything from our marketing automation to our websites to our ERP. So we're really wanting to make a choice that is going to elevate that experience for the reps, not just rebuild what we have. As Shweta said, things have changed, they've evolved. So we want to make sure that we also transform CRM from a system of record that sales reps feel like they really need to enter interactions, but really enable a system of insights and actions for them. At the end of the day, access to HCPs is a lot more difficult. And if you're lucky enough to get access, you have a lot less time than you used to have. So we really want to empower our sales reps with the intelligence that they can have really meaningful and impacting discussions instead of just have you heard about our product?
Thank you, Robert. Let's shift a little bit to AI. Even before platform go live, even before you choose a platform, you can define your AI vision. Nivi, where did you see AI delivering the biggest impact? And maybe also hit on the question where enterprise investments into AI come into play for you.
Yeah, certainly, Dirk. I think in terms of AI, it's no longer a question, right? It's almost something you have to plan towards, ensure it's working within your systems and delivering that value that you're looking for, not just creating extra churn. And so really for us, the key piece of like where we would think AI is going to generate more and more impact as we go down into the future is how can it be this intelligent system that's processing everything that's sitting in your CRM and getting you those insights faster, whether that's next best action or what message should the CP receive at this particular time with channel, what's the next best action essentially, right? And then how can you sequence those messages? How can you ensure your reps are getting the right inputs to go out in the field and call on the right doctors? And so really, how can you pull through that intelligence and how can you do it faster? That's the key differentiator, because can you do it today? Yes, of course. But with AI, that's where that efficiency would come through in terms of that rapid decisions, rapid insights. However, like when you think from an investment standpoint at an enterprise level, there are a lot of things that we need to get right from a foundational perspective, because if your foundations are not strong, like if your CRM foundation, like the data in there is not, accurate, or you're having a lot of other taxonomy issues, your entire AI or the value that AI could give is going to be fragmented as well. So you want that cohesive structure so that your AI is delivering the actual value that you need out of a very robust system.
Robert, as you're considering platforms, how are you thinking about embedding AI from the start into that platform to choose and in that selection process?
Yeah, AI is definitely a key consideration point for us. Obviously, it's not the only criteria that we're going to look at. We do have, a strong organization that's already well advanced into developing LLMs and different use cases and how AI can be applied. And CRM is just one of those places, right? AI has such a broad role to play in pharma, anything from clinical trial enrollment and management, pharmacovigilance adverse event analysis. But obviously with CRM from a promotional standpoint, huge part, as well as in customer service. For me, I believe that the fastest path to implementing AI is really to use what's already being developed by both Veeva and Salesforce. The use cases are proven. They understand how our industry functions, because there's so many players out there that flood the market with, we can do this and that. And I'm of the belief there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Go with the trusted partners that understand the day in the life of a pharma rep. And we also believe from a sales rep perspective, it's the easiest to adopt features and functionalities that are purely embedded into the CRM. They don't have to go out and pull in data or look at Tableau or other visualization solutions, but it's there at their fingertips to enable them to have those more intelligent discussions with their customers, whatever they may be. A pharmacist that's buying OTC products, or a specialist who's prescribing complex medicines, right? And I think there's so much data that we've acquired at Pharma that we have across so many places. Data, in my opinion, has never been an issue to drive compelling discussions. It's about being able to summarize it and put it in front of the reps in a easily digestible mechanism. And I think that's where AI, both from Veeva and Salesforce, can accomplish that and really empower the reps to go in with a lot more intelligent story to tell.
Thank you, Robert. And I've seen two questions came up, and I will ask the panelists this one after. But let me hand over to Shweta first, real quick, and how did the future AI vision influence the thinking within AstraZeneca? Maybe not so much specific in the product itself, but in a more general way. AI has this huge impact in the near future in your organization.
Thank you. All of the above of what the other panelists have said. I think all of us are, looking to the same things, but mainly, what we're looking to do at AstraZeneca, just like any other pharma as well, right, is how do we arm our sales force with insights, right? So our pharma reps with insights. Like when they walk into the room, do they have the full picture that they should have in order to engage most effectively with the HCP in the time that they have? How do we consolidate the medical and commercial insights? How do we present one picture? How do we go across brands, across regions, and all of this wealth of data that we have? How do we leverage that to arm our customer engagement professionals to the best possible way, right? How do we get AI for insights? How do we then, from those insights, execute on that, right? Use that AI as an intelligent partner and stretch our capability to more, right? We are all trying to do more with less, in this environment. So, how do we then use AI as an intelligent third team member almost, right? To generate content that will resonate the most, generate emails that will resonate the most. Where do we get the most impact is what we want to do. All of this, though, the biggest thing here is getting the responsible oversight, right? So what we're using AI is to get to that first point, and then using all of our subject matter experts who are the best, the best professionals in the field. They've done this for years, to then take that and add their layer of insight and turbocharge it, right? So that's where we're looking to get to with AI in our organization. Unmute again, Dirk.
I tried to mute myself in between. Let me just go a little bit to the anticipated challenges and lessons that you've seen. Appreciate that only GSK has started the execution so far. Nivi, what have you been anticipated challenges in your organization so far, the main lessons learned during the program? Can you just share some insights without obviously sharing any confidential information?
Certainly, Dirk. I think, as everyone knows, and I think everybody in the industry or across industries faces this challenges around the adoption and behavior change. Every time you're thinking about a new platform, a new CRM, new processes come into play. And the biggest perception out there is that CRM is more administrative, and that is far from the truth, especially now with such new capabilities and technological advances. And so really that adoption grows when the perception changes to CRM returning value to the user through intelligence or automation or efficiency. So that has been like a big piece that we constantly address. How do we ensure we bring our teams along with this change? How do we ensure everybody's adopting to the new processes? Because the more there's adoption, it's almost cyclical. The more there's robust data, then your AI functions better, there's more engagement, and then that in turn gives you better data again. So it's almost like this. You have to start and keep going further down the line, bring your teams along to get that value out of your CRM. The other biggest thing that I think most teams see is when you're bringing in a new system, there's often this notion that, oh, we have to replicate our old processes, right? Like when you're replacing legacy systems, you have to challenge those processes a little bit. You have to ensure that you're designing for a future state, not just for like a historical comfort. And so, how do you ensure that you're challenging that status quo and creating that difference and bringing that true value out of your CRM, not just lifting and shifting stuff? These are like two key pieces from a challenges standpoint. Of course, there's complexities with integration that you have to consider and evolve with, especially as there are better capabilities out there. To what Robert said earlier, right? There's systems that are already in place. Instead of reinventing, you you might as well leverage those solutions that our partners are offering.
Peter and Robert, even while you're in the innovation mode still, or just out of it, what are your biggest concern about the modernization of your landscape? Maybe Shweta, you start first.
Okay. So I think the biggest challenge that we face, just like Nivi said, our reps have used one system, and they're used to it. They're used to doing things a certain way. So the biggest thing is, how do we now change this, striking at the heart of our pharma organization, right? I mean, the CRM system is what they use day in, day out, every day. Again, it's not just them, it's several functions, teams that use it. Now you are replacing it. So how do you remove the fear of change? How do you remove the distrust, the change fatigue? This change is not a quick switch on and off. It's not a, search and replace kind of situation. It's going to be a slow process. It's going to take time. It's going to take shifting of attitudes, shifting of processes, shifting of ways of how we work. How do we keep this from becoming something that people are or get fear and change it to something that they're excited about, to say that, oh, this is awesome, I'm going to get to use this new modern system, I'm going to leverage so many new things that I didn't have before, it's going to make my work easier. At the same time, the fear of, is it going to replace me? That's the biggest fear that everyone has with AI, right? And I think that that's the biggest fear that we need to address, the biggest concern. And also, how do we do this by not affecting our day-to-day business, right? I mean, again, like, you're trying to do heart surgery whilst the patient is still running a marathon, is where I would say we're at, right? So how do we do this, keep the patient running, not miss or keep the runner running, not miss the finish line? It's not an easy task. And I think all of us are facing this challenge, and I'm sure that there will be lessons learned out of it that we can take forward.
Yeah, I hear that adoption topic very strongly. Robert, do you foresee the same in your organization?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we can certainly talk about adoption risks for days on out, and we have those as well as minimizing the disruption to the business. I think for us, it's also adoption from some of our key market executives. Today, we operate in 48 markets, and as I mentioned earlier, one of our goals is to simplify our tech footprint. So, for us, I think as we move to more of a regional approach, we're going to have to find and strike a right balance between still allowing some of those market localizations and customizations versus being able to operate more as a regional approach. We've been a Viva customer in most of our markets for well over a decade, and as anyone, if you're in technology, will understand, there's a lot of customization that has happened over that decade. So going through and streamlining some of those processes will require business alignment as well. When you take 20 plus, try to whittle it down to 5, you're going to have to make some tough choices on how you operate in market A versus market B, and that is going to be a challenge we're going to face up front. And then, of course, as we develop the product, then we're going to have the same challenges that my co-panelists have talked about, is how do we get the sales reps to adopt something that's new and different. And even if it is still Viva, it's still going to be different than what they're used to today. And the other challenge for us also potentially could be the interoperability. I mean, I've talked a little bit about the omni-channel interoperability, but we also, as I mentioned, take orders in Viva. It works today with ERP. We also have customer service call centers that are set up and tightly integrated with Viva CRM. So there's definitely going to be additional, let's say, ancillary platforms that are going to have to be changed and updated. And we want to make sure that everything works as smoothly as it does today. So we're really not only impacting through this change management our sales reps, we're really impacting customer service reps and medical and CAMs and you name it. The definitely the scope widens. So those are the challenges for us. But I'll say that one of the toughest challenges really has been to make a decision. I think there are definitely two compelling products out there, and each one is going to be maybe more right for one company versus another one. And that's also something that I want to acknowledge, that it's been a tough part of the decision-making process.
Thank you, Robert. Let's maybe move forward 18 months from now, just to look what success would look for all of you, and that might be very different. GSK probably at that time had their program rolled out globally. AstraZeneca, the first markets and business units live. Teva, maybe in the middle of it, maybe started the rollout also into the first countries. Again, what would success look like for you in about 18 months? Nivi, maybe you want to start.
Sure. I think for us, success is ensuring how your entire CRM ecosystem becomes almost invisible to the front user, right? It's indispensable to the organization, but it's not seen as a burden anymore. And so how do you surface those insights automatically? How do those workflows feel natural? That would be a huge success factor. Also, in terms of, I think, enterprise-wide standardization and consistency, how can this become that one version of truth for engagement, for KPIs, for outcomes across brands, markets, therapy areas? So, and also that AI personalization at scale, that would be a huge critical factor. And that's still, I would say, in the nascent stages, because from an omnichannel orchestration perspective, I think across the industry, we're all like striving to get better at what message to which doctor at which time through which channel. So I think while we've made significant progress as an industry, there's a lot more that we can be doing and a lot more to come in the future. But I think with AI, we'll be able to do that faster. And really pulling that adoption factor through the roof, I think, is going to be a huge differentiator in terms of success for CRM. So those are my critical success factors.
Frida, how would you look from your perspective, from the AstraZeneca perspective, towards success in 18 months?
Yeah, sure. So, I think for us, the success will be that we're engaging with our customers as one face, as one AstraZeneca, right? It's not a different interaction if you're a medical professional or a MSL or a sales rep or any interactions that we perform. Any customers that we engage with, they see a consistent message coming out of our company. They see that, okay, I did this. That is why I'm seeing this as a message. There's no disjoint in the communications, which we often see, which leads to frustration amongst our customers. And then it also would be amazing to see that AI is actually like driving our productivity, really, really pushing us and really enabling us to do more, reaching more customers, getting to more patients, getting more therapies on the market, really looking forward to that. And then my my bent is change management, so I have a personal interest in this, which is basically to say that this change enables our teams rather than burdens them. This makes them do what they do even better. It does not become something of, oh my goodness, now we've seen this hundreds of times. We're all IT professionals, right? When we introduce a new system, it can go either way, where we can make work very difficult for people and they can just, keep cursing out IT, or people won't like to admit it, but it actually makes their life easier, or makes their day-to-day much easier. So I would love to see where, someone walks into work and says, wow, now I know why I'm using this system, because I'm doing so many things differently than I did 18 months ago, right? And so while we are going through the transition, the markets that have moved to this platform, then the markets that haven't got it, they're like, oh, I can't wait to get to that system, because I know that it's going to get easier for me when I get this new platform. It's going to help me do these things that are so tedious, time consuming, that I could be doing better things. I could be out there selling more. I could be doing more for my patients. I could be finding more drug, discovery, etc. This new platform is allowing me to do that, and not bogging me down in endless documentation, endless content creation. My message is the same across the world, across all brands. We're giving one unified face. So I would love to see that as what happens, and people are excited about the change rather than bogged down by it.
Yeah. Robert, maybe your notes on the next 18 months.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. The obvious one is minimum disruption to the business, right? We want to make sure that we get it done right the first time. If you've ever been part of a large technical implementation, you know that there's post go live, there's a whole slew of change requests that bogs you down for 2 years. So for me, that would be another success metric, is we got it done right the first time, and you're not just constantly in panic mode on how to address all of the things that either you ran out of time to do, or you maybe didn't capture in your requirements, or you didn't realize it was a gap. But I'll also say, obviously, something different and better, right? Don't want to just do the same old. Let's be frank, the industry did not ask for this change. It's not like we all got together and said, we want another CRM. And we want to spend the next 2 to 3 years spending millions of dollars of implementing it. But if we have to do it, let's get something out of it. Let's get something new and different, and enable our sales reps with a better solution than they've had for the last, give or take, a decade. Those to me would be the success factors, and we're seeing what Shweta was also saying. We were actually surprised to see the business actually be excited about the change. We thought, yes, of course, there is a little bit of panic of how will this affect my product launches and how will this disrupt my day to day. But I do think they recognize that the train's coming. It's a fast moving train. And they're wanting to get on board, which is actually refreshing.
Good. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, a little bit summarizing all what we probably see is that, and I think Robert had this very nicely. There's probably a solution for both of the for companies, either way. And it's not so much about which software and you choose. It needs to be the one that fits you. The bigger question is, how do you really make this a success, something new, something, and I think Shweta said it, being excited about, and that you really drive forward with, and really can change your business in the future. And not only seen as a pure technology lift and shift that would be basically seen across all the three panelists. Let me come a little bit to the question that's been asked, and thanks for the attendees to raise them. And maybe, Robert, because you spoke about it already a little bit, let's start with the first one. asking about the true difference between the two systems. Is it a mindset difference in your perspective, an AI difference, or actually anything totally different of that?
Yeah, thank you for that question. At the end of the day, they're both CRMs that were carefully designed to address a day in the life of a CRM rep. You can certainly maybe debate a little bit about AI and maybe Salesforce kind of started out with AI and mindset as to be really core part of the platform, and maybe Viva kind of jumped a little bit late into the game. They were more about let's invite partners to help you with your AI needs, but now they're also fully invested. So I think it's really more of a mindset. Well, maybe it's two things. One of them is a mindset. I think, Salesforce has been very purposeful to say, we're not here to redesign what's been around for 10 years. We're okay with the change. We think change is good. And Viva's take on it has been not to say that change is bad by any means, but to say we want to minimize any risk to your sales reps. We don't want them to have to be, off their jobs for 2 days in a conference room learning how to use a new CRM. They're going to wake up on day one and be very familiar with their iRep app, and they'll know how to use it. And again, those are both very valid points that each customer needs to evaluate what their risk appetite is in terms of change management and adoption. But at the end of the day, I think both products are going to do the job that you need. The other point that I will just say is that interoperability question. It's what does the rest of your tech stack look like? How tightly is it integrated with your current CRM? And maybe you need to think about which solution will work easier with the other. Now, I have the middleware integration folks on my team, and they always say, I can connect anything to anything. And that's true, and I do believe that. But the question is, how much effort do you want to put into making middleware be the star versus the CRM be the star?
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. And maybe let me address the second and the third question a little bit to Shweta and Nivi around the AI in general. There was a question around to what degree AI is embedded in as a cross-functional environment, not only specifically CRM. How does that work? And that's why I combine a little bit with the second question, how that AI solution in general is going to look like in the ecosystem, with CRM as the core, but also probably beyond there. Maybe Shweta and Nivi, do you want to take an answer on that one?
Sure. Would you
Yep.
like me to go first? Okay. So, AI is at the heart of everything we do, whether we know it or not, right? In our daily life, in our personal, professional life. What AI will do is really, it will help field engagement. It will increase the field engagement. It will help the commercial operation. It will create the content that resonates the best with the customer, right? So there, in every system that we touch, AI will make a difference, whether it is on the promotional assets that we do, whether it's how systems talk to each other, how systems interact with each other, unknown to, the rep. Even there, AI is going to make a difference. It's going to make things simpler. It's going to give you more information, and it's going to mine information, lead to information where you didn't even know that you had, right? And I think that is where the power comes in, right? That's where the whole cross-system interoperability comes in, where it's really how we're using all of this information, all of this data that we collect on a daily basis, right? How are we using it to the best of its capability, right? You're not just seeing it in one area, you're actually taking it and then applying it to another area where it can do more and give you more information than you thought was possible. It's helping you reach more HCPs. It's helping you find new patients, right? So I think that in general, we cannot think of AI as only affecting CRM. It's going to affect every single layer of a pharma organization so that we can do more, and we can do more for our patients. We can do more with drug discovery. And eventually, we can do this without increasing complexity. We can keep uniform standards across the organization and get better at what we do.
Nivi, do you want to add anything on this
Absolutely.
one? Yeah.
To add on to what Shweta said, I think for a company that's, let's say, is in its nascent stages, trying to figure out how do I bring that true value of AI and how do I ensure all of my processes are really delivering that value, I think it becomes overwhelming very quickly because of the amount of information that we have to field. And one of the things that I always recommend to teams is start with pilots, pick small pockets, start with the pilot, see how your pilot is performing, and then think about scalability. And sometimes it's okay to say, no, this particular experiment doesn't fit well with my organization strategy, and that's fine. At least you've tried, that's a no-go situation. What else can you be thinking about? And so I think creating those HCP personas has become very easy through AI. And then when you have these personas out there, you know what content they prefer, what channels they prefer, what is their affinity across platforms. And you take it one step at a time. Eventually, all these pieces will fit through. I think just at the beginning, as we're all going on this AI journey, it might seem a lot. But this has been a demonstrated success across other industries outside pharma and life sciences. So there's definitely hope for all of us. I will say, just don't get bogged down with like so many dynamics happening all at once.
Yeah. Maybe Niva, I can continue on that one a little bit. There was a question from the attendees about really reinvent or reimagine business processes for AI to work, or is it more in your perspective a enabling of the current process that your organization is running? What's your perspective on that?
I do think we have to reimagine how we're doing things. And I say that a little bit because to what Shweta said earlier, right? There are a lot of things that are coming to light that we've never even thought about before. And so if you try to keep fitting these new capabilities into your old ways of working, you might only be able to get so far. But if you take a step back and say, okay, what is my end goal? What do I have as inputs that I can use to get there? And is this the only way? Of course, the critical piece in our industry is compliance, regulatory information, all of that, rules that we have to abide by. But I think it is feasible as long as you're willing to say, I'm going to invest more time up front, imagining how my process or solution is going to fit in this entire landscape, than just trying to complement existing workflows. And we've been doing that with data science and advanced analytics a little bit, but there's still this drive for every organization to get more impact, to get more value. And I think that's where changing some of these processes will create that differentiation. And I'm glad we're in times where AI is available for our rescue, because if you imagine the amount of number crunching, system processing, or without this capability, it would have taken us many years to get to where we want to go. And ultimately, we're impacting patient lives. So, right, like keeping that as our true North Star really helps everybody orient to what we're trying to solve for.
Yep. Okay. Shweta or Robert, any thoughts from your part?
Nothing really to add. I mean, I think AI will absolutely change the way that we ingest data, process data, and how we react to the data. There's been other questions, so I might as well touch upon it. AI really is only going to be as successful as your data is. And I think some of the failed AI use cases, not necessarily in pharma, but in general, has been where folks have maybe jumped on the bandwagon a little too quickly before they really took a good self-reflection of data quality and data availability. So I think that is definitely going to be a concurrently running project as we, transform our CRM. We also have to ensure that we have data in a central place that's to an extent normalized and cleansed. Otherwise, we're going to be just yet another victim of the AI hype. And that's the one thing that I would definitely call out, that it is a watch out. AI is going to be only as good as your data is and the accessibility to the data.
Yeah. Peter, maybe you, otherwise I would go then also to the next question.
I'm sorry. Are you asking me a question, or did you want me to respond to the?
Yeah. We respond to the, but it's fine. Let me
Sorry.
let me just probably go to one of the earlier questions that been asked around AI and different speeds in the different regions. You're all three working in very global organizations. Robert said already, there's a big push into get this a little bit more streamlined in their organization. The way I've seen it, it's probably something that is similar across a lot of companies. But with the AI specifically, does it have any impact that you see so far on different speeds of integration, implementation of AI in that landscape, or any insights on that?
Yeah, sure. I can take that. Definitely, it depends on regions and accessibility to AI features and platforms and tools, right? Certain regions are very, very open to it because, they have been exposed to AI in other spheres of their engagement, right? In their life, in their personal life, etc. So they are more open to using it. In certain regions, in general, as pharma, we tend to move a little slowly just because of how regulated our environment is. So there's always this lag from the outside world. But I think it really depends. It's almost like a top-down approach, is what I've seen. If the leadership or if the higher levels are more inclined towards AI, that culture kind of permeates down into the organization in that area, right? Certain organization, if the higher tiers are fearful, wary, or not using AI themselves, we're seeing all organizations promote AI. We're seeing that AI is the next big thing, right? It's the revolution, etc. But until there is a top-down approach, right, where the senior leaders are modeling that behavior, they're also using AI, I believe that it slows down the uptake of AI within those regions, right? And in some regions, I think within AstraZeneca, definitely. I mean, we're seeing a big push. We have a program where everybody's being asked to get certified in, which is great. It's incentivizing how you're increasing your literacy. So somewhere something resonates and people start to use it. My other biggest belief is until you start using it hands-on, like anything else in your life, the unknown is always fearful, right? So until you start using it hands-on, it's not going to be something that you can adopt day to day. So opening up these opportunities across all regions, right? Giving people a chance to use AI, showing them the value it brings to them. And again, also reminding them that it's not a silver bullet, right? It's not going to solve all your problems. You still need to keep your oversight over it. You also need to apply the human in the loop at every scenario. It will start to help with the adoption of AI in a measured, controlled, more sustainable manner, rather than a big bang and then, that curve that we always talk about, right? Where it's high and then suddenly like it completely peters out, right? What we need is a sustained adoption. So this is how we expose people, have them show them how it makes a difference to your day-to-day, helps them do more. That's what will sustain and help people adopt AI.
Yeah. Nivi, as you already started the program, I don't know where you are. Do you see any major difference in the different regions of adoption of AI within your organization, or is that at the moment at least not really a strong point in your organization?
I think it certainly differs by regions, but there's also this what you're having to do from an internal environment standpoint and what's happening in the external environment also, right? Like, for example, currently in the US, we're trying to balance a lot of new regulations that are coming through. And how do you balance that out with all of the stuff that you're doing internally? And certain other regions across the globe might not necessarily be going through the same things. And so how the speed at which you can get through to some of the stuff in a lesser regulatory environment or where you have lesser guardrails, that's definitely faster. If you're having to, and it could be faster in other regions, but if you also have this added complexity about, okay, we developed this process, but unfortunately we have to rewire it because of a new rule, either mandated by the government or how we're doing things across the industry, we have to account for that. And so sometimes it's not about, can I do this quickly? It's more about, are we doing it correctly? Are we doing it in the right way, while being sensitive to everything that's going on?
Yeah, no, that's true. Let me then pivot to a question that being asked about measuring the AI integration and how you're actually looking into the benefit realization across that organization in that kind of change management that you have. Maybe Robert, is there anything in the Teva world where you already start to plan these kind of things? Also, Nivi, Shweta, about you, how do you going to measure the success of the integration of AI?
I don't know that we have fully baked out all of the KPIs, but what I would say, just like everything else, it's all about the return on investment. As technologists in an environment like CRM that's always changing, and you're always getting requests to make updates and changes and whatnot, we always ask the question, we can do it, but why are we doing it, right? So obviously, there's going to be a focus on what is this going to drive? What are we selling more? Are we more efficient in our approach? But we've not gotten there quite yet at Teva. At least not from a CRM standpoint. I know a lot of my peers have already instituted a lot of AI deployments around different areas like R&D and HR and even within IT. And I'm sure they're measuring, right, what the uptake is, what the satisfaction is, what's the accuracy. All of those questions we're going to be facing ourselves as we start going down this journey. But we currently are really just more in an experimental phase with AI today for CRM, I should say.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it's a little bit, we're in those infancy stages, I would say.
Yeah. Maybe that might be also something for Nivi, which where you are a little bit further down in that process. Maybe Nivi, do you want to share your thoughts on this?
Sure. For us, it's mainly we've set up our own framework in that we've tried to examine how our leading indicators do and how our lagging indicators do. And to Robert's point, yes, the goal is higher engagement, return on investment, but I think there are several leading indicators that you can start observing much ahead in that journey, as opposed to like waiting up, because usually for a return of investment sort of measurement, that takes a little bit longer, and depending on the therapy area, it might be even longer. And so you really want to you want to look at your initial indicators about how is your engagement looking? Is the behavior changing across HCPs, and are your campaigns generating that? Whatever processes you're using internally, right? Even from like your own teams, depending on where you sit in the organization, you can create your own KPIs to understand if you're making a difference. And one of the example I will give you is time to insight. I think one of the things we've said before AI is this is the average time to generate an insight. Whereas now with AI in the workflow, in the process, what is it? Which means I can get to my next step quicker, faster, and better. So you don't have to use highly defined, standardized metrics across the industry. I think you have to come up with what makes sense to your organization and your strategy and what can create that value for you. And so really across the leading and lagging indicators, we're seeing a lot of that come through in terms of higher engagement rates, faster behavior change, and then that in turn that drives sales or return on investment for you. How can you tweak your strategy accordingly if those engagement rates are not where you want it to be? So I'm sure others in the industry also have their own approaches, but yeah, these are my thoughts.
Yep.
Even
Thank
with
you,
the
Nivi.
suggestion today, that I think the other important thing is we've done a lot of the suggestions, if you will, through CRM, but the feedback loop is really important, and I think that's the first indicator you can have. Of course, there's other longer developing indicators, but are the reps seeing value in it? Are they actually using those suggestions? And then and that's something that we do track today, and it is easy to track, and that's probably the first step in any of these AI use cases, whether they're even rules based or truly AI, is what's the adoption rate with the reps, and then do they feel that it's adding value? Because then you can readjust and learn from your potential initial mistakes. So I agree with everything that Nivi said.
Yeah. Thank you a lot, Nivi, Shweta, and Robert, for sharing your thoughts, your time with the audience. Looking at the time, it's like 2 minutes before the top of the hour. I believe you have at least answered most of the question that came up. I think 2 or 3 didn't make it in time anymore. Again, a lot of thank yous for the 3 of you to be here. And as I've been told, the recording is being shared afterwards to everyone. I hope this was a very informative session also for the audience. Thanks a lot for the engagement, also for the questions. And thank you very much. I think the industry is on a big change over the next 3-4 years. Is it technology enabled? Absolutely. But we heard it's far more about the organizational change, the process influences, the impact of AI, and how do we really get value out of this for the business, for the HCPs, and in the end also for the patients that we all are serving.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.